Is our government trying to cause discontent amongst the people? Are they purposely trying to stir the pot until the people of this country break because they just can't take no more? That and more in just a moment.
Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts. During the day, well, I design machines of war, scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night, under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. But to wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out, and I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. That we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So no wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. The things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night
Revelation 11. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees, and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth, and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And the 7th angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, The kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign for ever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before God in their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped God, saying, We give thee thanks, O Lord God Almighty, which art and wast, and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power, and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldst give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldst destroy them which destroy the earth. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings, and voices, and thunderings, and an earthquake, and great hail.
Good evening. It's November 20th, 2014. This is your host, Mike Callahan, and welcome to the Watchman News. Wow, today I have reason to be thankful. With everything going on in the world, in this country, I have reasons to be thankful. I think we all have reasons to be thankful every single day, no matter what happens in our lives. I just wanted to take a moment to thank our Father for that. See, I look very forward to seeing a very wonderful woman this weekend. And it seemed like so many things were going against that being able to happen today, including her breaking her crutch. And a lot of you probably don't know, but my girlfriend, she has cerebral palsy, and so she has to use crutches to walk with. And I'm going somewhere with this, by the way, so just bear with me. And today one of her crutches broke, and without them she cannot walk. I probably was more devastated than she was. It really hurt me to my core because I could just feel all the emotions. Because she was at work when it happened, mind you. She was working. Um, yeah, even though she has that, she puts in her 40 hours a week and has more determination than I could ever dream of having. She wound up having to pay for a new set of crutches out of pocket because of government bureaucracy. And wow. But I thank our Father for, her being able to do that. I thank our Father for a wonderful co-worker she works with that was able to go get um, her crutches after she purchased them. But it just makes you wonder. I mean, yeah, she could have got them. She could have got help getting them, but it would have been a bunch of red tape. She would have had to have gone to a doctor and gone to a doctor appointment to get a prescription. It's cerebral palsy, folks. It's not like it's just going to disappear. It's not like a cold or a flu that you go and get a prescription for. So I'm not so much complaining. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that she's taken care of. I'm thankful that we're going to be able to spend time together. I'm thankful for her. I'm thankful for a lot of things. And I don't think we really tell our Lord how thankful we are for the things that we do have. So I'm not going to keep going on with a Bible rant or anything like that. I normally don't, and I'm not going to start. But I just wanted to share a little bit of my life with those that choose to listen to the show. So anyway, I do got some news for you. I've got quite a bit of stuff on Ferguson. No, I can't give you no magic answers as when the decision's going to be or anything else. I don't have any extra information that others don't have that I can speak of. I'll put it that way. So I've got I got quite a bit of the news. I'm going to be talking about different stuff, either in or related to Ferguson. Also going to be discussing immigration. I've got a video from BP Earthwatch about the immigration speech that I believe Obama is giving right now that many different television channels have decided not to air, which I have a lot of inquisitive questions about that in itself. It seems to me like they don't want people to hear what this executive order is going to be. But wow. So, and I'm curious. I'm going to be refreshing the local news pages as I do the show because I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to release the grand jury decision during the show. If not, I think it'd be tomorrow. I'm surprised they took this long. So sorry for gibbering. Let me get on with special observers. And by the way, I want to make a note down in the About tab under the link for his daily news that I'll be showing you here in just a moment. There is another link for an update to the climate change. And I'll tell you what, I watched it right before I started the show. It's an hour long. And I watched it before I started the show. Obviously, I can't play it during the show because it's too long, but it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. The evidence that they put forth, the commentary, and the information they provide as far as those that would want to be prepared and be able to survive what's to come. Very important. It's probably a good thing to at least bookmark to watch when you can. So anyway, without jabbering more about that, let's get on with suspicious observers. That one guy, Ben Davidson.
Good morning, folks. Please stay tuned until the end for a special announcement. As you watch the departing northern filament destabilize and partially collapse, a long-duration event that took place over the last day and produced no CME, I'll ask that you rewind your memory back to a few days ago when the big sunspots were just returning to the Earth-facing disk and erupting with plenty of ejecta. One of the blasts appeared to be a partial halo eruption heading for Earth. We may have seen the weak stream overnight, even without major telemetry changes, as the KP index shows we entered some shield instability overnight. Could see more today if the CME was not uniform. Solar flaring? Trying to tick back up slightly, but it was not our megaspot center disk, it was the incoming active region. The sunspots revealed that the big boy is still delta with a positive and negative interaction, but it fell silent when facing Earth, just as the new grouping came onto the southeastern limb. Remember, east and west are flipped on the sun. We've also got the southern negative coronal hole incoming, dark next to the Earth scale. It maintains some significant force to it and has already switched near Earth space from positive to negative influence. Quick Rosetta update. Even as the lander is without power, Rosetta itself is still orbiting and is just beginning to start its longer mission of watching the comet activity as it approaches perihelion. Link is below. The Indian Ocean cyclone has weakened a bit in the last day, still heading for Madagascar there. In the U.S., we've still got the terrible winter storm in the northeast with Pacific flows coming further onto land and a heat and moisture flow in the south. Our terrible weather up north will continue from east to west, as we've also got the chance for storm activity in the south where that hotter flow was seen. Small Atlantic low just off Spain and Portugal with that same flow to the east also pushing up to meet a flow that goes south of Norway. The Atlantic system is confined to that coastline, while you can see the purple watch areas in the east extending up through the continent. Down under, these western convergences will shift east a bit tonight, and the northeast system is weakening with a convergence reaching up to the South Island of New Zealand as well. Purple is where your wary watching is warranted. Mobile Observatory Project comes to Raleigh today. We'll be at the Whole Foods in Cary from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come hang out and get some healthy food while you're at it. Folks, a special announcement. Later today, Billy and I will try to hop on Google Plus Live for a discussion of the turning tide. 2 years ago, our position on climate extremes was laughed at, but on the heels of record cold, record snow, and multiple fatalities, we will summarize the latest major scientists to sit on our side of the fence. What began as a handful is now hundreds of screaming nerds like me. It is the single most important mistake that climate science has ever made. Climate change is real. Human pollution needs to stop. But the party line on our changing planet is dead wrong. Don't miss our live event right here online this afternoon, a few hours after our Raleigh meeting. Got shots of our star to close? It's 5:55 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Eyes open. No fear. Be safe, everyone.
Thanks to Ben Davidson with Special Observers for his wonderful report. As usual, again, I will mention it a second time because it is that good. In the About tab, many wonderful links below all the news links for the day. You'll see Suspicious Observers. You'll see 2 links. One of them is for the show you just watched, and the lower link is for an hour-long session that he was speaking of that is just, wow. It is just great, everything that he covers in it. It's astonishing. It really is. But I'll tell you right now, and he goes over it in the video, we better be prepared because it's not going to be a pretty day in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's get to something less natural, if that makes any sense. Let's get on to Ferguson. Wow, so they're doing everything to hype up everything that they can, and this story covers it, or some of it anyway. Downtown businesses prepare for National Guard. No, I'm not stammering. I've got a million things going on in my head, reading about 5. So many people who work, live, and visit St. Louis daily say they don't see the point of the National Guard being in the city but say that extra police presence will be welcome if violent protesters come to the area. Bob Ray, the president of Downtown Restaurant and Bar Association, says he doesn't expect too many protests downtown, but if opportunists try to destroy the city property, then he is happy to have the National Guard in town. And I'm going to show you that video clip because I'll tell you what, it really looks like he was given a script. You'll see. Ray feels if opportunists come to the city to take advantage of the situation, then the National Guard will be helpful in keeping area businesses and residents safe. There's just a small segment of the population that joins in peaceful protests that does that, and I think if the National Guard is here to do anything, it's to protect businesses and residents, but also the protesters from negative elements that might join with them, Ray said. The St. Louis Downtown Neighborhood Association sent a statement saying the group remains focused on enhancing the safety of downtown residents and employees, which is why we are in the process of developing a new citizen-driven safety plan for downtown with the assistance of St. Louis Metro Police Department, the Circuit Attorney's Office, and Downtown St. Louis Incorporated. We look forward to the opportunity of working with any and all parties interested in improving the safety of downtown St. Louis. Now, I wonder, just out of just curiosity, what these people are saying on social media video. It's like a minute, but I want you to see, it really looks like this guy is reading from a script. 2 minutes, I apologize, shoot me.
With additional National Guard troops, Mayor Francis Slay requested this week.
We are talking about those who live and work right here in the city of St. Louis. Our Laura Hediger spent hours yesterday talking to people about the National Guard coming to town. This morning, she's live on Washington Avenue to let us know what she heard. Laura.
And Claire, we have heard from so many viewers who say they are nervous. They don't know what to expect. In fact, just about 2 minutes ago, we saw and met two of those viewers, and they don't know why the mayor has requested this additional National Guard presence. So that is exactly why I talked to so many people about this yesterday. Here's some video of me speaking with Bob Ray. He is the president of the Downtown Restaurant and Bar Association. He says he does not expect too many protests here, and he does not think it is necessary to have the National Guard here, but he went on to say if opportunists try to destroy city and private property like they did in Ferguson in August in this video, then he will sure welcome an increased police presence.
There's just a small segment of the population that joins in peaceful protesters that does that. And I think if the National Guard is here to do anything, it's not only to protect businesses and residents, but also the protesters from negative elements that might join with them.
And I want to point out exactly where we are. We are next.
Okay, that's another video. But if you look, he just rolled with that a little too smooth. Almost like he had a teleprompter or a card or something that was there that he was kind of looking down at, possibly reading from. I mean, I could be wrong, but it just seemed a little interesting. So, on with Ferguson. Friday night, David Nail concert at BPV postponed due to a state of emergency. Now, we just seen somebody postpone their show earlier on in the week, and now this is another, and I can't think of the first guy that postponed, or that, well, he canceled, but anyway, for the second time this week, country, I did read that right, see, county, they messed me up, blame KMOV. A country music performance was postponed due to a state of emergency in St. Louis and surrounding areas. David Nail was scheduled to perform at Ballpark Village Friday night. That's what BPV stands for. But has postponed. He plans to reschedule the show. Earlier in the week, there he goes, Hunter Hayes. Maybe if I read some of these articles, before the show, I might have a clue. Hunter Hayes canceled his Thursday night show at Chaffetz Arena out of respect for Governor Nixon's declaration of a state of emergency. Click here for more information. No, there's a reason I don't go through and read all the stories, and it's not because I'm lazy. It's not because I don't have time. It's because on a lot of this, I want the same the same feeling, the same thoughts, the initial reaction. That's what I'm looking for, that you get from when I read it, or try to read it. But hey, when they write it wrong, it makes it a little harder to read. So anyway, on Ferguson News, I'm just going to roll through this stuff. Police agree to some rules of engagements demanded by protesters. Now, this story came out, I believe it was like yesterday, but I didn't cover it. Protesters recently released a list, see too much coffee too, a list of 19 rules of engagement they want police to follow when patrolling protests. Some of the rules call for preservation of human life, well, I would hope, while others demand the authorities avoid using riot gear and not react to those who hit police with bottles. Okay, now that goes a little far. St. Louis County Police said they have agreed to some of the rules. I know they have discussed on a number of occasions their 19 requests. I think just at face value, you can look at these and say we're not going to be on the same page as most of those, said Brian Shellman with St. Louis County Police. Washington University professors of criminology said an agreement to all of the rules would be dangerous. It would not only tie the police hands and create an unsafe situation for them, for the peaceful protesters, for residents in the area where the protests are occurring, the professor said. The co-chairman of the Don't Shoot Coalition, kind of sounds like, nah, I won't go there, said he does not believe it would put police in a disadvantage if violence erupted. We don't assume ourselves that that's going to be the case. There's many large crowds in concerts and other public gatherings where they don't come out in riot gear, said Michael McPherson. Police did not say which rules they have agreed to. They did say they will arrest lawbreakers and hope to have peaceful, pleasant interactions with protesters. Police want to take a relaxed approach at this, and if we don't ever have to don riot gear, we won't, Shellman said. Oh, well, that's funny. And I'll tell you why in a moment. Authorities said officers who will be working at demonstration sites have gone through hours of training on how to respect and uphold the protesters' constitutional rights. You mean the ones that they keep taking? Okay, yeah, this whole thing about riot gear. Last night they were in riot gear. I watched for a little bit live streams going on. There were arrests made last night. I've got a little bit of a video to show you as to what happened last night, and also some more information that you're not seeing written anywhere about what happened last night. But before that video, we'll get on with another story. Well, it is that story, but I'll show you video on it. Arrests made outside Ferguson Police Station Wednesday night. 5 people were arrested while protesting outside of the Ferguson Police Station Wednesday night. Police say approximately 15 protesters gathered across the street from the police station around 6 p.m. A little over an hour later, several protesters began entering the roadway and obstructing the traffic on South Florissant. According to police authorities, say officers with St. Louis County approached the demonstrators and advised them they would be arrested if they did not remove themselves from the street. Shortly after officers approached those in the street, several additional demonstrators arrived on the scene and laid down in the middle of the roadway, shutting down the street. Of the 5 arrested individuals, 3 were from Missouri, 1 was from Illinois, and another was from Wisconsin. 4 of the 5 individuals were arrested for refusal to disperse an unlawful assembly, while 1 was taken into custody for an outstanding warrant. Authorities say by midnight, the crowd had dwindled. That's not quite true. The gentleman that was arrested for an outstanding warrant was not in the street. That was, he was not in the street. He was filming the police. He was a citizen journalist. They have been targeting him over and over and over. We've talked about him on the show. His name is Bas Masri, if I'm saying that anywhere near correct. They have constantly targeted him. And I know there is a video out there where he was streaming in the earlier days of the protest, to where he got pretty hasty with the police and said some pretty nasty things. But you know, we do have, regardless of whether you agree with it, whether you're for, you know, the cause or against the cause, we do have freedom of speech in this country. And we do need to understand that when somebody's life is taken, okay, whether it was justified, whether it was not, whether we agree with the cause again or not, there's going to be some tempers flaring. There's going to be some upset people. And that should be common sense. I mean, we are humans, and we do have human emotions and human reactions. And, you know, the police weren't so great with the crowd and the journalists that night that he reacted in that manner. I'm not really defending him. I'm just trying to say, hey, let's get real. It's been several months later, and they are still targeting this individual. I don't know how many arrests that makes, but they keep constantly coming up with these warrants, right? You would think that he would get arrested for a warrant and that would be taken care of, or he would take care of it. No, they keep trumping up warrants on this guy. It's pretty crazy. I'm not going to keep talking about it. This video that I have shows the arrests that were being made, but after the video, I'm going to tell you about something that happened during the recording of this video. That is just absolutely, it's scary. It's scary that they're doing this. And anyway, this video is from InfoWars, and it's Jakari Jackson and Joe Briggs. And wow, I'll just let it speak for itself.
November 20th, 2014. Most of you guys know that tonight.
Oops. That is my fault. What did I do? Oh, there you go. Sorry.
I'm Joe Biggs with Infowars.com in Ferguson, Missouri. Now, we've been here since last Friday. It's Wednesday now. And tonight, we've gotten the first word that there was a protest going on. We are on South Florissant Avenue. To my right is the Ferguson Fire Department, and to my left is the police department. Now, if you look over here, just a little bit ago, there was maybe, I'd say about 100 people. People starting to show up and leave and come and go throughout the thing. But there are about 65 police officers over here, as you can see. They've got their riot shields on, helmets, gas masks on their side. Let's walk over here and take a closer look really quick. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of police officers lined up over here. So far, this has been a very peaceful protest. People have been using, like Jakari Jackson likes to say, colorful language.
Indict that cop. Send that killer cop to jail. Your system is guilty as hell. Yes, I said it.
It's definitely been thrown around quite a bit, but other than that, no physical violence. There has been one arrest, though, since our arrival here. One of the local live streamers, a citizen journalist, he was taken away because the police officer said that he had an outstanding warrant. But one of his buddies that he came with said that he had just taken care of that warrant the other day and no longer had anything outstanding whatsoever on his record. So more than likely, they're just trying to get another citizen journalist off the street who can basically expose anything that they do. I've heard a couple interesting things so far tonight from the protesting side. There was a young man who started shouting out to the police officers, saying, hey, the guy second from the far right, he has a daughter and we should go and basically do something to her. I guess spark a response from the police so they can do something. Now, whether or not that happens, it looks like thus far the police have learned to restrain themselves a lot better from back in August. Earlier, The protesters were out on the road blocking traffic for about 45 minutes. Jakari and I showed up the last 10 to 15 minute leg of that. The police came out, lined up, and pulled a vehicle up right behind them and used a loudspeaker and said, hey, if anybody else gets back out in the street, we're going to use force. And as you can see right now, people are starting to walk into the street right now with their bullhorns. All right, so here we go. They are blocking traffic, and the police will be forced to come out here. And you can hear them. They're screaming, whose street? Our street.
Jakari Jackson along with Joe Biggs. What's going on? Front lines of the Info War. As you can see, we have several heavily armed officers standing immediately behind me. They're telling the protesters that they cannot be in the streets. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. We see many guys out here with their riot sticks, riot shields, gas masks on some of them.
Move on, sir.
I'm not standing in the street though.
Keep going, sir. You're gonna have to move.
So yeah, so now they're pushing me into the street.
Well, let's get over here to around the side.
Yeah.
Move around.
Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot!
I would like to say, for the record, they just pushed us out to the street. Because I was way up there where that first barricade was. Then they pushed me back.
Don't come up behind us.
So now the police are arresting people in the street.
Okay? So this right here.
There we go.
Here we go. They are arresting people, putting people around right now. We don't need you. We not moving. You better turn around. Because we not moving.
So you see everything they already have is just a prelude to what's going to happen.
Yep, it's just going to be on a larger scale.
You think so?
Yes.
You think we're going to see the riots and all that again?
I'm not sure about from the protesters in. I know there are extremist protesters, and I know that there are opportunists out there. And they would seek to pervert what we're trying to accomplish here. I know that exists. But what we're trying to accomplish is a peaceful protest so that there's justice for everyone.
This is Joe Biggs with Infowars.com. Now, just seconds ago, all the police officers from the Ferguson department have retreated back inside. They were standing right over here across the street, across from the protesters, and they have gone back inside to the fire station right now. I'm assuming to warm up, it is around 20 degrees right now. But the protesters are still out here standing strong. Continue watching our reports out here in Ferguson. Once again, I'm out here on South Florissant Avenue at the fire station and in the police station in Ferguson, Missouri. I'm Joe Biggs with Jakari Jackson, Infowars.com.
So there you have it. That's what went on last night. Yeah, you shouldn't stand in the streets. It's use a little sense here. I mean, it is civil disobedience. So there's a point behind it. And most people that do that know they're going to get arrested. And they're pretty well good with the idea of getting arrested. It's the whole point of civil obedience, pretty much. So, wow. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I think things are going to get pretty crazy in Ferguson when the announcement is made. Let me check real quick. Only take me a second to check the local news and see if they're saying anything about it. 40 minutes into the show, I just wanted to take a look. By the way, Ferguson protesters could be Times Person of the Year. I've seen that article posted earlier. Figured I'd share that headline with you. Wow. So one last story on or related to Ferguson, and I kind of thought this was humorous. Kansas City students walk out of Jay Nixon's speech. I know it just says Nixon, but you know, it's not the not a crook guy. because this guy is a crook. Anyway, Governor Jay Nixon, I'm just joking. Governor Jay Nixon says he understands concerns of Kansas City students who walked out of a speech he was giving in an apparent protest to the police shooting in Ferguson. Nixon was talking Thursday at Lincoln College Preparatory Academy when a handful of students raised their hands over their heads in a gesture associated with Ferguson protests. The Kansas City Star reports the students then left through an auditorium door without disrupting the speech. Nixon was at Lincoln to recognize its status as a national blue ribbon school as one of the nation's top awards for academic excellence. Obviously, I didn't go to one. No, actually, I did. I'll tell you about that in a second. Nixon says the students are going to be and need to be a force so that we can be a better state and better society after this. I did, honestly. Highland School Systems in Highland, Illinois. That's where I went through school. I am very proud of that. They were listed as a blue ribbon school, so very proud of that. They were they were a good school, really, really good school. They focused on education. It was a good town for the most part to live in. It's a small town, so it's kind of one of those that had some of the kind of snobby type people, but it's one of those towns that you say one thing on one end of town, it's on the other end of town in 2 minutes. But really, it was a wonderful, safe town to grow up in and had excellent school systems. So anyway, let's get on. I've got a video from BP Earthwatch, which is what I kind of started to play earlier, where he gives his thoughts on this deal with the immigration and this executive order, which he has checked into that more than what I have. So I figured it'd be better to let him share his thoughts since he's a little more educated on the matter. Matt Turr, there I'm showing that blue ribbon excellence again now. So it's kind of crazy what's going on. I'm not against immigration. I'm not, I don't have a problem with people coming into this country. It's just the way that he's trying to achieve that. And right now our country is hurting. Our country is bleeding. And we really, one of the things I heard mentioned was work permits being issued. And that, right now you can't go by the numbers that the government's releasing on unemployment or anything else or GDP or anything like that because they are so skewed. But I will tell you this, there aren't the jobs out there that they're claiming is out there. And to just hand out, that many more jobs. And people can argue with me all day long about, there are jobs that you wouldn't want to work. I tell you what, there's a lot of people right now that would do anything for a paycheck to be able to feed their family or keep a roof over their head. A lot of people. So, we just need a better way to do this. But anyway, somebody that's a little more educated on what was going to be discussed tonight made a video, and I thought he did a pretty good job. So without further ado, here's Jesse, otherwise known as BP Earthwatch.
November 20th, 2014. Most of you guys know that tonight, prime time, the president is going to give his speech on immigration. He plans to do. Now, this has been a big battle, and it's why one of the reasons the Republicans lost the House and Senate, because the way that he oversteps boundaries sometimes with executive orders and bypasses the votes needed to actually do this legally. Now, he will make that argument that he's going to stay within his legal bounds. But because of this new election, we're starting to see some moves on the Republican side, and that's what I want to talk. But let me try on the fact. And one of the strange things is that CBS, NBC, and ABC have either decided not to carry this to the mainstream or have been told not to. I think Fox may cover it, CNN probably. But in a primetime address to the nation tonight, the President will announce his intention to issue an executive action on immigration that sidesteps Congress and could spare as many as 5 million undocumented immigrants living illegally inside the U.S. from deportation. Now, in quotation marks, and he put this in a video message on his Facebook page, what I'm going to be laying out is the things which I can do with my lawful authority as president to make the system better. Again, recorded on a message on his Facebook, not mainstream. Now, according to administration sources, here are some of the things the president is expected to lay out. He will likely extend deportation protection to parents and spouses of U.S. citizens and permanent residents who have been in the country for 5 years. Guys, then why are they letting them flood across the border now? If they were going to hold to that. Those who are eligible for deportation protection and have no criminal record will be made eligible for work permits. However, they would not have a path to citizenship, and the actions could be reversed by a new president in 2 years. Then why do it? Officials also said that eligible immigrants would not be entitled to federal benefits. And this is it gets weirder, including health care, tax credits. It says they also are unlikely to receive public benefits like food stamps, Medicaid coverage, or other need-based federal programs offered to citizens and some legal residents. Then again, what are you going to do with it? Someone's lying, and I'm not saying it's the president. I'm saying the facts don't add up. How are you going to let millions of illegal immigrants stay, 5 million plus, and the ones flooding in the border, but you're not going to give them any benefits, and you don't have enough jobs? Again, this started way before the Obama administration with NAFTA, but you don't have enough jobs for the American people that are here now. But you're not going to give them any benefits. What are they going to do? Just be criminal gangs? What's the plan? Now, again, White House, from inside the White House, some of the information coming out is the president is also likely to expand his 2-year-old program that protects young immigrants, so-called dreamers, from deportation, waiving the age restrictions on that group. Under Obama's 2012 program, immigrants under 31 were eligible for protection, but the expansion would not include parents of these immigrants, something immigration activists had long been pushing for. Also left out of Obama's expected measures, millions of childless immigrants. According to the Migration Policy Institute, there are estimated 6.5 million undocumented immigrant adults living in the United States without children. Administration officials are saying that the president is designed to be legally unassailable. Republicans beg to differ, and that's what the video is about. This new election has changed the Republican stance. They seem to be standing up a little more, but Michael Steele, who is the spokesman for House Speaker John Boehner, said, if Emperor Obama ignores the American people and announces an amnesty plan that he himself has said over and over again exceeds his constitutional authority, he will cement his legacy of lawlessness and ruin the chances for congressional action on this issue and many others. But Alabama Representative Mo Brooks raised the specter of impeachment, introducing a bill, you're looking at, I'm going to read to you, that would pave the way for the House to take legal action against Obama if he issues an election on immigration. There goes on to say, this is again, who is spokesman for John Boehner, head of the Republicans. President Obama knows he lacks legal authority to grant executive amnesty to millions of illegal aliens. Brooks said in the statement, yet in response to special interest group pressures, the president says he will grant executive amnesty anyway. President Obama should be held to his own words and bound by the United States Constitution. Let's take a look at this House bill. Now, maybe this one they can get passed since they dominate Washington now. But it's for the 113th Congress, second session, House Resolution 757, providing for authority to initiate litigation for actions by the president or other executive branch officials. A lot of them probably don't want to hear this. Inconsistent with their duties under the Constitution of the U.S. with respect to the implementation of the immigration laws. Goes right to the heart of the matter. In the House of Representatives on November 17th, this was issued 3 days ago, Mr. Brooks of Alabama, for himself, Mr. Culbertson, Mr. Stott, Mr. Gozer, and Mr. Clinton sent the following resolution, which referred to the Committee on Rules, in addition to the Committee on House Administration, for a period to be determined by the Speaker. In each case, for consideration, provisions fall within the jurisdiction of the committee concerned. Resolution reads, providing for authority to initiate litigation for actions by the President or other executive branch officials inconsistent with their duties under the Constitution of the United States with respect to the implementation of the immigration laws. Very similar to the first section. Resolve that the Speaker is authorized to initiate or intervene in one or more civil actions. Means you can be sued. If you can be sued in a civil case, not only are you looking at impeachment, but you could face financial and jail time on behalf of the House of Representatives in a federal court of competent jurisdiction to seek any appropriate relief regarding the failure of the President, the head of any department or agency, or any other officer or employee of the executive branch. You guys listening in D.C.? To act in a manner consistent with the official's duty under the Constitution and laws of the United States. It's good to hear that word in a bill like this. You know, it's something you guys talk about prayer. Pray that the Republicans stand up and do enforce the Constitution. We'll see if that ever happens. But again, it's something to pray for, that something changes. Definitely going downhill fast. Saying that manner consistent with the official's duty under the Constitution and the laws of the United States with respect to immigration laws or laws pertaining or relating to illegal aliens, undocumented immigrants, or non-American citizens. This is very important. Non-American citizens. The phrase appropriate relief includes, but is not limited to, all forms of equitable relief, including a declaratory judgment action to determine the meaning of laws and whether they are being obeyed or disobeyed, and a writ of mandamus, temporarily restraining order, preliminary injunction, permanent injunction, and such other relief as is necessary to compel obedience to the law. The Speaker shall notify the House of Representatives of a decision to initiate or intervene in any civil action pursuant to this resolution. Office of the General Counsel of the House of Representatives, at the direction of the Speaker, shall represent the House in any civil action initiated or in which the House intervenes pursuant to this resolution, and may employ the services of outside counsel and other experts for this purpose. The chair of the Committee on House Administration shall cause to be printed in the Congressional Record a statement setting forth the aggregate of amounts. Now, there's talking about big time lawyers, and again, when they call in outside, that's going to be taxpayer money. We know that, but something has to be done. Now, the speech will not be aired everywhere, but there are reports again from the Republicans that there could be trouble nationwide, even talks of riots, much like the Ferguson deal, over this announcement. Again, I don't know why the networks are not showing it. Either they've been told not to, or they are against this bill also. That's why the Republicans won the election. And now it's like the Democrats know they have but a short time and are going to destroy what they can before they're thrown out. We'll see, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.
And that's why I wanted to play that. He kind of summed up what I was getting at towards the end there. And that's, there are threats being made of riots. It's just kind of common sense that if they do this, they are going to upset masses of people. I mean, the Ferguson deal is big, without a doubt. That's big, but this is even bigger. Because, again, there's a lot of people in this country that know this country is hurting. I don't think this is a situation or a case of people being prejudiced or anything like that. But the people in this country are sick and tired of an administration. And I'm not just saying the Obama administration. I'm going back further than that, to where they just push and push and push and take. And that's all they've been doing. They've been taking away our freedoms, our liberties, taking away our rights, and pushing us, forcing us. I mean, ever since Reagan, and I'm not necessarily downing Reagan so much, but that seems to have been where the big cliff started with NAFTA. And a lot of people say, oh, well, Bush Sr.'s the one that signed NAFTA. And yes, that's true. But Reagan had it drafted. And that's just a fact. And I'm not saying that Reagan was necessarily a bad guy. I had a discussion with somebody on this about that. I'm not saying that, and it was quite a while back, and kind of came to this conclusion. I'm not saying Reagan was a bad guy necessarily, but a lot of things changed in the way that he steered this country after he was shot. And that kind of brought a little bit of a light onto maybe why things changed. He could have been a puppet the whole time. Who knows? I don't know. But I do know that's when things really started going downhill, was when NAFTA was enacted. And ever since then, again, we've just had things taken from us. And it's like the snowball effect. It's been more and more and more as time goes on. It gets taken away from us. And it's it's just crazy. How much further, how much more can the American people take before they just snap, before they can't take it no more, before they crack? How many families have to be homeless? How many families have to starve before people say enough? I think we're getting there. I think we are right there at the cusp of it. It's not just Ferguson. It's everything. It's everything. And you throw in Ebola on top of it. There's a news article. You can search it if you'd like. There's there's somebody that they're monitoring in St. Louis right now with monitoring for Ebola. Supposedly it's just the quarantine deal. Somebody that just got back from the West African area. But it's like everything the people want or expect, they do the exact opposite. And I mean, I could just list Obamacare, and one thing that just, it really gets me, how people are so blinded. Even people that are awake talking about Obamacare, they say, well, we've never been forced to buy a product. The government's never mandated us to buy a product. And that's not correct. In many states, as far as I think almost all the states, if not all the states now, you are mandated to purchase car insurance. So, they can't get away with necessarily saying that. Federal government, yeah, because it's not a federal law. But almost every single state has done it. So other things, unemployment insurance and stuff like that. And I know that's to protect, but I'll tell you what, if I had all the money that I paid into unemployment right now, I could probably do some pretty good things for myself. I've never collected unemployment. I'm 42 years old. I've never collected unemployment a day in my life. I applied for it one time. The one time I did apply for it, even the employer was trying to help me get unemployment because it was circumstances beyond either of our control. And they refused it. They denied it. I couldn't even draw it then. And wow, you know, gotta love this system. Like I started the show out talking about Jen and her deal with her crutches. This system is it's a joke. It's a failure. You gotta hang in there because we're not getting any of the truth, and we're gonna get all the backlash. So hang in there. That's what I got for you tonight. Hopefully I'll have some more information for you tonight as far as the decision in Ferguson, and maybe I'll be able to more knowledgeably discuss what went on with the with Obama's deal tonight with his executive order. I will be checking into that right now after I finish the show and see what's going on. You all have a good night. May God bless you. May he walk with you. Be one with your spirit. And I do love you all. Hang in there. It's going to be one heck of a ride.